The eye appeared in the early morning. The phenomenon caused a combination of panic and passive interest as it rested quietly above the city, and drew obvious comparisons from the media, including the Eye of Sauron, the Eye of Providence, and even Big Brother from George Orwell's 1984. There are several possible causes. The bright, flashing lights on the ground near the phenomenon led some to speculate that the eye itself was a hologram, or tied into the Project Bluebeam conspiracy theory. Others have suggested that the phenomenon may be related to transient luminous events, a combination of natural and supernatural lighting events. Number 4. Rainbow clouds over Brazil. In December 2016, a strange, colorful cloud formation appeared over Brazil. The phenomenon became known as the rainbow cloud or fire cloud. Some people believe that this is a natural phenomena similar to that of rainbows, as the name implies. As white sunlight hits the cloud, it's scattered by the water molecules within, creating a colorful light. But if the mechanism of such a cloud is so simple, why are they seen so infrequently? It's been suggested that the cloud may have a more significant supernatural cause. Some have suggested this cloud may be the product of HAARP, a conspiracy to control global weather. Others have proposed that the cloud may be a form of camouflage for a UFO or an interdimensional portal. Number 3. Second sun over Slovakia. Bratislava, Slovakia looked like Tatooine in January and February 2017 as two suns seemed to rise and fall over the Eastern European landscape. Some have argued that this phenomenon is the result of reflections in a cloudy sky, mirroring the sun in a manner similar to the Fata Morgana optical illusion. Others have argued that this is an omen, and that the second sun may not be a sun at all, but Planet X, or Nibiru, a popular concept in conspiracy theories. According to believers, Nibiru is an ancient planet that is the origin of intelligent life on Earth that shall one day crash into the Earth in an event known as the Nibiru Cataclysm. Could this second sun be an omen of this coming apocalypse? Number 2. Green fireball caught on police dashcam. In February 2017, a police dashcam caught a green meteor crashing down in Lisle, Illinois. Green fireballs are a prolific and well-recorded, though contested, phenomenon in the paranormal. Green fireballs are most often associated with UFOs and aliens, either considered to be UFOs or some type of weapon used by UFOs. Others argue that green meteors have a specifically spiritual, metaphysical meaning. The prestigious horror writer H.P. Lovecraft even used a green meteor as an omen in one of his own stories, representing destruction by the alien and the corruption from within. Number 1. Sky sounds. Sky sounds are an increasingly common phenomena that have been associated with the end of times. Historically, sky sounds could be considered to be an omen of the end of the world. Many ancient myths detail music from the gods or heavens indicating a great change in the earth or spiritual world. It wasn't until the 2010s that sky sounds became as prolific as they are, when numerous cults and religious organizations called 2012 the end of the world. People looked for signs of the end times and, well, they heard them. While experts and casual observers offer natural or man-made explanations for sky sounds, including video manipulation to create them from thin air, new reports continue in spite of that.
And it's fucking loud. You hear that?
And there, you have 5 unexplained mysteries in the sky caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Godzilla. Who doesn't know the name? While movies featuring monsters the size of skyscrapers destroying cities and chomping on panicked citizens haven't featured much in the past few decades, we still have a special place in our hearts for the terrifyingly vicious mutant. Born of the sea, Godzilla is said to lurk in the depths, coming to the surface from time to time when driven to wander out of its natural habitat. We're still skeptical, but thought we'd present you with 5 Godzilla caught on camera and spotted in real life to help keep your day interesting. Let's begin. Number 5. Massive Iguana Galapagos. This critter may be small, but it's certainly more than comfortable in the water. It's also the stuff of childhood nightmares and something we wouldn't want to mess with. We just couldn't help ourselves and had to add this quality footage to our list when we saw this tiny iguana tearing apart the reef and wreaking its very own trail of destruction. It really does look like a miniature Godzilla doing its thing. While it may not be the destroyer of any human cities, this iguana definitely looks famished. If some terrible catastrophe led these swimmers to mutate to enormous heights, it would most certainly be time to turn tail and run for your lives. Furthermore, it spans a very impressive 6 feet, which doesn't make it so tiny after all. The environment that these iguanas inhabit is one of the richest and most impressive on Earth. The Galapagos Islands are simply teeming with unique and exotic life, giving these sea iguanas plenty to eat. Much of that life has been relatively unchanged for hundreds of thousands of years, which led to the footage we're now able to share. The way it walks along the reef after cruising overhead and touching down, pausing to inspect another potential meal every second or two, is oddly unsettling, and we can only imagine that running, or swimming for that matter, into one of these creatures would be an incredibly harrowing experience, even for the most stoic of humans. If an iguana that size decided it didn't like the look of your nose, it could probably quite deftly rearrange your face to suit its own needs. It could also outswim and outmaneuver a person, putting us completely out of our element. These divers must have nerves of steel. Even more scary is the fact that a bite from one of these iguanas would almost certainly become infected, making your Galapagos trip rather miserable. Still, we have to appreciate the grace with which this thing swims, even if it sends chills up our spine. It's a good thing that most iguanas aren't about to attack humans if they can help it, so we can swim safe knowing that we're probably not going to end up on their dinner menu. Unfortunately, we can't always assume as much about the next beast on our list. Its impressive size dwarfs these iguanas, reaching lengths of almost 3 times that of our friendly Godzilla lookalikes, and making them seem downright cuddly in comparison. Number 4. Immense Gator, Florida. We all know Florida has some pretty impressive creatures roaming around its swamplands. The Okefenokee is one well-known sanctuary that allows visitors to really immerse themselves in nature and live dangerously. Another site that's been getting a lot of attention recently is fairly innocuously named. Polk Nature Discovery Center may sound like a place to bring the entire family for a day trip, and it actually is, to a certain extent. If you've got the type of kids who love to run off and explore, then this park definitely shouldn't feature on any vacations in the near future. Turns out that this place has some crazy inhabitants roaming around it. Polk Nature Discovery Center is located in Lakeland, Florida, and is quite expansive, boasting 1,267 acres that cover a number of different ecosystems. One of the dangers lurking in the park are the enormous gators that look like they're straight out of a horror movie. These terrifying reptiles could certainly do some damage if they decided to storm through Tokyo tomorrow, so it's a good thing this sighting went as well as it did while crossing a berm, which is a man-made embankment constructed to help visitors better navigate the marshland. Park officials say that these also serve as paths for their resident gators as they cruise from one marsh to the other. One such beast was recently spotted by a large group of people who simply had to pull out their cameras and snap a shot. We're glad they did because their footage is amazing. The gator they ran into was an incredible 16 feet in length, which is incredibly impressive. This smaller cousin of Godzilla still packs a punch, and we're sure that it could have taken on those onlookers if it had wanted to. These people seem to be fearless, crouching down only feet away from the creature to get the best possible view of those insanely large teeth. Floridians seem to be used to these sorts of occurrences, however, and don't let much faze them. In 2016, another 15-foot gator made similar headlines when it strolled across a golf course fairway, seemingly oblivious to the concerned golfers whose path it had suddenly blocked. We think 15 to 16-foot creatures that are literal living dinosaurs are absolutely worthy of coming in at number 4 on our list, and also want to give a shout out to the tweaked citizens of Florida who were more than happy to put themselves directly in harm's way so we could get this wonderful footage of a real-life Godzilla. Number 3. Godzilla sighting Barbados. As far as actual Godzilla sightings go, there really isn't much to work with. Even with its supposed size and destructive nature, there's a lot of ocean to hide in. We also know very little about the ocean, especially at greater depths. This is a combination that leads us to think there could be something to the legend, even though we do think most sightings are a touch far-fetched. This video, however, is great quality and is just convincing enough to leave us with our doubts as to it being a forgery or anything other than the real deal. The video shows a dock or jetty in Barbados, right on the water, with what looks like a mostly full moon illuminating the sky. Clouds roll across the horizon and fog hangs in the air as the camera focuses its aim. Given the kind of night we're working with, it goes without saying that the entire ordeal would be pretty creepy no matter what. As the creature slowly comes into view, you're given a clear impression that whatever's out there is massive. It's obviously begun to attract some attention too, as there are other onlookers trying to get a good shot in this featured video. Cloud cover and fog can create some impressive visions and make even the most defined features seem awkward and off, but whatever's out there isn't a boat. In fact, it can't be anything man-made at all. The height and the speed at which it moves simply discount anything we're capable of engineering. At that spot, all the witnesses should have been looking at was ocean, not some towering monstrosity taking a midnight stroll through the depths. It should be mentioned that the effect seen can be reproduced during certain conditions with certain types of clouds. Lighter, less dense clouds moving in front of and behind banks of fog or larger, heavier clouds further out to sea can absolutely create these forms of shadows. Even so, this effect is startling, and it looks so much like an actual snapshot of Godzilla that we felt we had to share it and let you see for yourself. Most times clouds trip us out, it's nowhere near this impressive or on such a large scale. Number 2. Godzilla Fossil, Argentina. In 2005, National Geographic reported that a 135-million-year-old skull had been found in Argentina. The skull belonged to a creature that has since been dubbed Godzilla. This massive skull was amazingly found almost completely intact and has since offered a wealth of information during further examinations and research. Originally found in 1996, scientists wanted to make sure that they had their findings in order before revealing their discovery to the world. What they found was that Dacosaurus andianensis is an entirely new species of creature that was previously unknown to science. Furthermore, this thing was huge and fearsome. Definitely not something you want coming at you out of the depths. Then again, if this beast took a bite out of you, it would probably be over pretty quickly. Researchers were able to determine that Godzilla had immense, extremely powerful jaws, kitted out with huge serrated teeth, capable of ripping you into confetti in seconds flat. We know that this creature lived in the sea and wasn't able to walk on land at all, placing it perhaps just a touch before Godzilla in the evolutionary ladder. If humans were around, this would have been a welcome fact, as we're sure that this thing could have razed entire villages to the ground in one stomp if it had the legs to carry it. Its skull was found in a part of Argentina that was known to be completely underwater at the time, and its diet was most probably other fairly large sea life. By examining those razor-sharp teeth, researchers were able to gather that it was completely carnivorous and extremely adept at catching and shredding its prey. Spanning 13 feet, this creature means business, although we've shown that Florida has some gators that could give it a run for its money. Amazingly, this fossil has led researchers to believe that the creature was an ancient form of today's crocodiles and may help bridge a previously missing evolutionary gap. Marine crocodiles were prolific in the Jurassic era, which ended 145 million years ago, so we're obviously looking at an ancient throwback to an even more ancient era. Number 1. Kudos for trying, Anytown, USA. Whoever took this video needs to go back and get a little more practice under their belt. After all the interesting things we've covered with regard to Godzilla's, or at the very least their lookalikes and distant cousins, we thought you could use a little humor in your day. Featuring the open farmland and light forest that could be found in Anytown, USA, this guy's attempt to perpetuate a hoax is laughable at best. If we can say one thing for certain, it's that he did seem to really give it his all. The very best of the worst, this video shows an elongated, hunched-over mix of a T-Rex, Triceratops, and lizard. The storm rolling in gives perfect cover and makes the creature just hazy enough that any casual observer would probably be fooled, if they were blind. We do appreciate the fact that, unlike most other videos found on the subject, the supposed Godzilla's legs actually do touch the ground. Unfortunately, that's about the only credit we can give. We're also very much aware that there are places in the world where a creature of that size could tear through farmland, screaming bloody murder as it barreled along, and not raise the attention of the outside world. Too bad that place isn't right in the middle of America's heartland. That being said, we do hope that we're wrong, because seeing something like that bearing down on you would be a pretty cool way to spend your remaining few seconds alive. And there, you have 5 Godzilla caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. On May 2nd, 1933, history was made. Alex Campbell, a water bailiff, caught sight of an enormous unknown creature while visiting Scotland's now infamous Loch Ness Lake. Campbell's account was reported in the Inverness Courier, and the term Loch Ness Monster was born. Since that fateful day, the Loch Ness Monster, or more affectionately known as Nessie, has been spotted by countless visitors. Some have even managed to capture this reputable beast on video. Here are 5 video clips that may very well prove that Nessie is more than just a legend. Let's begin. Number 5. Deep Water. In January of 2015, an elderly Scottish woman decided to spend the afternoon at Loch Ness Lake. As she strolled down by the shore, something huge and black caught her eye in the water. Shocked, the old lady pulled out her cell phone and began recording. Unfortunately, the woman in question was severely frightened, or is just horrible at handling technology. Either way, it's clear that something very large is alive and moving in the water. Number 4. Under the Waves. Sometime near the spring of 2014, a family of tourists decided it was time to visit the notorious lake and see for themselves just what the fuss was about. Of course, they never expected to actually see Nessie. Not long into their visit, a long, almost snake-like creature was seen swimming just below the surface of the water. While the animal never raises its head out of the water, it's clear from the footage that it's not an eel or a shark, which people often mistake for the monster. Number 3. Alaskan Nessie. Last year, a group of Alaskan workers were traveling on a boat down a river when one of the crew members spotted something quite unusual trailing behind them. As more of the crew were alerted, one of them whipped out a camera and recorded the odd-looking creature. The footage itself is only a few minutes long, but members of the crew claim that the animal had been visible for quite a while. After the footage was uploaded, it quickly went viral. Skeptics have come forward stating that what they filmed was no animal but a rope with chunks of ice stuck to it. However, the Alaskan workers have been adamant and steadfast in their claims. They said that they could clearly see the animal swimming downstream with them. So, is it a rope with ice or Alaska's own Nessie? You be the judge. Number 2. Nessie's cousin. Despite Nessie's fame, she isn't the only legendary lake monster. Lake Champlain, a 125-mile body of water between New York and Vermont, is also home to a lake monster known as Champ. Over the years, there have been over 300 sightings of Champ swimming about in the lake. Many local residents claim that both states encourage these tales as a means of tourism. However, tales of the Lake Champlain monster go as far back as the Iroquois and Abenaki Indians who used to live in the region. They called it the Tatuskak. In 2015, an anonymous viewer sent YouTuber Enoch a video they aren't soon to forget. The video was taken on a bright, clear day at Lake Champlain. The viewer began recording when he saw something long and skinny bobbing close to the surface of the water. The object in question looks like a log at first, but can clearly be seen swimming and thrashing around moments later. It would seem that good old Nessie has a family member. Number 1. Caught in the act. While not much is known about this video, it's hard to imagine a film crew who has better timing. Set in 2007, two individuals are speaking into the camera as if making a documentary. What the subject matter is unclear and quickly becomes irrelevant when the camera operator spots something huge in the water outside the window. Everyone rushes to the side of the boat, but the creature itself doesn't seem camera shy. Its long, skinny body can be seen breaking just slightly over the surface before dipping down into the water again. It's clear by the wake it leaves that whatever the creature may be, it is extremely long, possibly even as long as the boat itself. And there, you have 5 Loch Ness monsters caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. It's no doubt that Twitch, a popular gaming live stream platform, has an incredible following. Gamers all over the world connect for the love of video games. Twitch has made it possible for folks to become career video game players, and with the camera constantly rolling, you're bound to come across a fail or two. In some cases, it's almost impossible to believe some of the things the camera is able to catch, often when we think the camera is off. Here we have the 5 ultimate Twitch fails caught on live stream. Let's begin. Number 5. Stripper pole failure. Silent Sentry is a very popular Twitch channel with over 140,000 followers. His videos range from simple how-to tutorials for setting up your character, defeating various levels of the game, and so on. Often, followers can donate money to the different channels for various reasons, including having the gamer perform various ridiculous acts in exchange for more followers or donations. In one post, he offered to eat scorpion peppers on live stream for 10,000 followers, and being a man of his word, he delivered on his promise. But perhaps the most bizarre request he got came from one of his loyal followers who promised to donate money to his channel if he swung around on a stripper pole. While this was a very odd request, Silent Sentry was up for the challenge, but things didn't go according to plan. At the end of his stream, you see this adventurous gamer throw off his headphones and microphone and jump up out of his seat. He makes a rather enthusiastic lunge for the stripper pole already set up and ready to go. As soon as he throws himself onto the pole, he falls down flat, taking the stripper pole down with him. All the while, Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard is appropriately playing in the background. While this is definitely a side-splitting moment for his followers, he did get loads of concerned comments from his followers wanting to make sure he was okay, which he was just fine. Maybe a bit of a headache, some bruised ribs, and, well, definitely a bruised ego. Silent Sentry went on to report that the stripper pole was not installed properly and he fell off almost instantly. On Reddit, this popular streamer admitted that the accident occurred because of a loose washer, which stops these sorts of stripper poles from shortening. While Silent Sentry has the gaming world and Twitch figured out, he's probably better off to sticking with what he knows and leaving the stripper poles to the professionals. Number 4. But Mom... We all know that while our mothers can be a bit pushy, they often do have our best interest at heart. All they really want is to see us lead a happy life. But all too often, mothers and their children have completely different definitions of what a happy life really is. Rastafarilan was a pretty popular gamer on Twitch and was pretty happy with how his life was turning out. Sleeping late, bong hits, and video games. What more could a 20-something guy ask for? It's reported that Rasta even dropped out of college to pursue streaming on Twitch as a full-time career. Pretty happy lifestyle, especially since Mom paid his way in life. Well, Mom, on the other hand, had a very different view on what a happy life looks like, and it for sure didn't involve video games and Twitch. After noticing her son had racked up her credit card bill with over $400 in game skins, she completely lost it on him, right in the middle of his live stream feed with 120 followers watching. Rasta was embarrassed, to say the least, to get such a tongue lashing from his mother in front of all his friends. She called him every name in the book and demanded he leave her home if he didn't stop streaming, start showing up to class, and get a job. I think it's safe to say that although it wasn't necessarily the life he would have chosen for himself, he did take his mother's threats seriously, and the Rastafarilan empire is now over. While Rasta did close his Twitch account, remnants of his glory days of gaming can still be found online, and we all hope he's doing great for himself. But this video remains on the internet as a lesson for other grown men trying to make it as a gamer and live streamer on Twitch while living at home with Mom. One day she just might turn on you guys. Number 3. Legendary Leia. Legendary Leia, aka Leia May, is a very popular gamer and live streamer on Twitch with a pretty massive following of over 600,000 followers. And, well, as you'll soon learn, it's very apparent as to why. Recently, Leia was banned for 30 days from Twitch for lifting her leg on livestream, showing the world a very clear shot of her, well, private area. While Leia claims this was absolutely unintentional and was the result of an injury, it's pretty hard to believe this showing was anything but. As you watch the clip and how she lifts her leg, it's not in any fashion that someone with an injury would move. And since Leia has a pretty extensive history of these sorts of accidents, Twitch and the online community are a bit skeptical as to her true intentions. She's often seen in up-the-skirt types of shots in her streams, like accidentally dancing by a fan that blows her skirt up around her waist to reveal her thong. Now, maybe this could have been an accident, but it's a bit suspicious that her skirt is flying up at just the right moment for her camera to capture this accident. You have to wonder if this is all, in fact, staged. Leia will often dress in miniskirts and bend over to pick things up. Unknowingly, of course, that she's exposing herself to hundreds of thousands of people. In one video, she's outright wearing only a thong and a t-shirt while she bends over to adjust a picture on her wall. Another video shows her falling down while petting her dog. Of course, her skirt flies up in the process. Video after video, she has one tragic accident after another on live stream. While it's difficult to prove if these unintentional incidents were in fact staged, it does help account for her massive following on the Twitch platform and other social media sites as well. Twitch does have a pretty strict policy on this sort of behavior, which is probably why she constantly claims such incidents to be unintentional in nature. Number 2. Japanese man sets house on fire. Okay, so this is probably one of the craziest things to ever happen on live stream. A Japanese man named Yoshihiro Mazda would often do some product reviews and live demonstrations while live streaming and playing Minecraft. In this particular video, Yoshihiro was demonstrating how to refill a lighter with lighter fluid. You see that he accidentally spills some lighter fluid and reaches for a tissue to clean it up. Oh, and did we mention that he's smoking a cigarette during this demonstration? Can we nominate this guy for a Darwin Award? After cleaning up the lighter fluid, Yoshihiro tosses the tissue in the trash without giving it another thought and resorts to just using matches instead. Yoshihiro, who apparently knows nothing about the dangers of fire, accidentally lights the whole box of matches on fire. Shocked, he throws the burning matchbook in the trash can. You know, the one with the lighter fluid soaked tissue. His trash bin immediately catches fire and quickly grows out of control. He tries to put out the fire by removing the trash bag and moving it to a pile of cardboard in the corner. Seriously, dude? When that obviously doesn't work, he attempts to put out the fire by placing a cardboard box on top of the burning trash heap, and after that brilliant idea didn't work either, he then goes to the kitchen to get a small plastic bowl with some water because, yeah, adding that little bit of water will put the fire out, right? When the small amount of water doesn't seem to work, he grabs a dry blanket and begins to fan the fire, of course helping the fire grow stronger by giving it more oxygen. Then he decides to throw the blanket over the massive fire. When all his conventional methods failed, Yoshihiro flees the apartment and calls for help. It's reported that there were 2 other family members in the house who did manage to escape, but not without sustaining some pretty serious injuries. The fire became so massive that it was reported that his elderly neighbor was burned alive in the process, who wasn't discovered for 6 hours after the incident. Number 1. The handicapped streamer.